Hi, Mike Hall, CEO, Paul Fraser Collectibles here, and welcome to episode 2 of my top tips in what to buy in Rare Collectibles right now, firstly for pleasure, but also for future profit. So my top tip today could be considered contrarian as an investment, in that a lot of people would say that the market doesn't look quite good right now in this area. I would actually disagree. Having watched this market over the long term and looking at the growth over the long term, actually right now I consider this the classic Warren Buffett style value investment. And in that vein, I recall a well-known US investment guru that I knew quite well in a past life called Steve Sugarwood. And I always liked his investment mantra, which was buy when an asset is cheap, hated, and in an uptrend. And I think the most important part of that is buying in an uptrend. Never try to catch a falling knife, but when a market has fallen and is rising again, it is quite often a good sign to get involved. Because the thing you've got to bear in mind is that every bull market starts when times are bad. Likewise, every bear market starts when times are good. And the market that I'm referring to here today has been bad and is now showing signs of a recovery. And I remember when I know this market really well, actually. I've been involved in it since 1999. And I remember actually when I first got involved in this market, everyone was quite downbeat at the time about the prospects for the market, saying, no, the prices will never go up again, blah, blah, blah. Likewise, I remember speaking to people at dinner parties in the UK 2005 and hearing someone say house prices will never go down again. And clearly that isn't what happens. There's no such thing as a one-way ticket in any asset class. So anyway, I slightly digress, but this market, 10 years after everyone was downbeat, presented as one of the best bull markets in Rare Collectibles, and prices shot up considerably over that period. So what no one had foreseen, because obviously predicting the future is difficult, but there was a lot of new high net worth collectors got involved in this market during that period. And a lot of people hadn't taken into consideration the fact that the baby boomers were now reaching retirement age. And a lot of them took up hobbies, some of which were stamp collectors. And that is the area that is my recommendation for today. But not just stamps, specifically rare British stamps is my recommendation for today. Now, why do I recommend specifically British stamps? Well, firstly, British stamps over the long term have performed really well, but over the past 7 years they've fallen in value, which makes them look cheaper than they ever have. But if you go from 2000 to 2023, the average annual compound growth rate based on the GB 30 Rarities Index is a healthy 7%. Another thing about British rare stamps is they really have shown their mettle at the times when you really need something to protect your wealth. So in 2008, when financial institutions collapsed, the index tracking this went up by 38.6% in that year. And if you go further back to the time we had high inflation in Britain in the late 70s under the Labour government at that time, and we're now a Labour government today, so we may potentially see the same again. But the GB 30 Rarities Index between 1975 and 1980 actually went up by over 600% because people were literally using this as a hedge against inflation at that time. And the other thing is, when you look at British stamps today, when you look at stamps of a specific level of rarity compared to countries, stamps from a country of a similar level of rarity, they look cheaper than they ever have. And there are signs of an uptrend right now because some of the market information coming out is very positive. So Stanley Gibbons reported that the average realizations of British stamps have went up by 15% just recently. And the biggest stamp auction house in the UK said that they've seen a 20% increase in bidder numbers for rare British stamps, which really shows that the market is recovering now. And that is the time to get into this market. And the other factor I would actually bring into the equation here is that we're on the ground in this market, and quite visibly, the biggest dealers are buying big into this market right now. They're buying what they can see value, and they've been doing this for a long time. So it's a bit like fund managers getting in before private investors. I think they can see that this is presenting as great value right now. Because literally, there's rare British stamps you can buy today at a price that we haven't seen for 10 and even 20 years. And the final reason I recommend British stamps as a great investment is they are the perfect portable investment. And they have actually been used as an alternative currency in the past. So, specific buying tips for buying British stamps, particularly when you're considering it as a store of wealth and an investment, is don't look at this as some sort of get-rich-quick scheme. That's not how stamps work, really, as an investment. It's more like the tortoise and hare story, where over the long run, stamps show their benefits. So it's one of those things you buy and tuck away for the long term and then sell them in a profit in the future. The other thing is definitely focus on only rare stamps, but most specifically, only rare stamps in top quality. Because when it comes to stamps, poorer quality examples sell for a fraction of the value of top quality stamps. And the reason for that is really quite simple, is that the most discerning collectors that want to buy the very best just so happen to be the collectors that have the deepest pockets, and therefore are the ones that are most likely going to show you prices rising. Authenticity in any collectibles is important, and no less so when it comes to British stamps. And I would recommend, if you're buying valuable British stamps, that you get a certificate from either the British Philatelic Association and or the Royal Philatelic Society. And the final point that adds just a little bit of more value and marketability to your rare stamp is provenance. So buying items that were once part of a famous collection, a famous collector who was recognised as building the best collection, for example, in his area. Having come from those collections, specific stamps from those collections have much more appeal. So I'm now actually going to share with you 3 specific stamps that I would truly recommend right now as a great buy at the current price. Now, the first one is the most famous stamp in the world, obviously. It is the penny black, the world's first postage stamp. Now, what is interesting about this is, unlike other British stamps, this did not fall in value over the past 10 years. Every other stamp quite often has gone down in value, but this one has proven a good investment. And this is available today for £15,000. But 10 years ago, this would have been £7,500, which shows you it's a real decent growth rate over a 10-year period. And what's specifically important with this one is the fact that it's in mint quality. Very few remain in mint quality with all 4 margins intact. And actually, printing plate number 8 is quite a challenging printing plate to find in mint condition. The second one is the Tuppenny Blue, which was issued actually at the same time as the penny black. It is actually 10 times rarer than the penny black. And this is a wonderful quality used pair with stunning Maltese cross cancellations in the middle. Very difficult to find a multiple of this in this quality. I actually find the Tuppenny Blue more than 10 times harder to buy than the penny black in fine condition. I'd say probably more like 20 times. And this actually shares the same benefit as a penny black. It hasn't went down in value in the past 10 years. This actually is available for £2,000, so much less. And the Stanley Gibbons catalogue value of that today is £2,500. So my final recommendation is something entirely different and much, much more modern. This is from 1980, and this is what you call a stamp error, and it's a missing colour. As you can see, the Queen's head is meant to be silver, and the colour silver was missing. So the one on the left shows the incorrect Queen's head. And you probably see from the screen that the price ticket on that is £1,500. Well, actually, that's what this sold for 10 years ago. Today you can buy this from us for £450, which is less than a third of what it was selling for 10 years ago. And probably the best value investment in stamps I can think of right now is modern British stamp errors, because they're trading at such a low value compared to what they used to, but they are in great demand. And there is only 30 examples of this error in the world. It's incredibly rare, yet you can buy it for £450, which is just completely barking mad and can't persist, in my opinion. So that's my 3 recommendations today. It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again for my next top tip. Thank you very much.